name is Kurt Ward, and I want to teach you the top 5 tips for filing a long-term disability benefits claim with your employer or with an insurance company. While this video does not give legal advice, it does provide basic beginner instruction on how to go the extra mile when you seek long-term disability benefits.
The story of Humpty Dumpty is unfortunately the story of most long-term disability benefit claims. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, he fell, and unfortunately he could never be put back together again. Now, in a disability claim, you are very similar to Humpty in that before you were disabled, you were able to perform your occupation at an elevated level, just like Humpty was able to sit on that elevated wall. But after you became disabled, whether it was through an accident or a disease, or maybe you have an ongoing condition that causes deterioration, you were suddenly unable to perform your occupation at that elevated level. And sadly, just like Humpty, you are unable to climb back up on top of that wall.
Filing a disability claim and qualifying for long-term disability benefits is not simple. While comparable to a nursery rhyme, this process should not be considered simple like a nursery rhyme. Obtaining long-term disability benefits requires you to go the extra mile. That is why you should follow the top 5 tips. And these tips, they apply to an individual disability policy, a group disability insurance policy, and your employer's disability benefits plan.
If your long-term disability benefit plan is regulated by ERISA, you should probably be aware of one major pitfall that you might encounter when filing your claim. The administrator always gets the last word. Generally speaking, whenever you submit your application for long-term disability benefits, you've got the first word. Let's think of it like putting one bookend on the end of a shelf. But if the administrator handling your claim denies your claim on appeal, well, that's the last word, and he then puts the second bookend on the other end of the shelf. The information that you submit between these two bookends is more than likely the only information that you'll have available to prove your claim to a judge or in a court. Kurt, that means your clients are going to want to be intentional to go the extra mile when they're filing their claim, because they're going to want to submit important, relevant proof of their claim between these two bookends down here. Will help?
Kelly's right. You'll want to submit overwhelming proof of your disability before the administrator puts their bookend on the shelf. Between the two bookends, your application and their final denial, you should submit overwhelming proof of your disability because of the biggest difficulty with ERISA-regulated long-term disability benefit claims. That's the hurdle and the pool.
If your claim is denied by the administrator and you have to go to court to seek benefits, you will most likely face 2 hurdles. In fact, let's think of a horse who has to jump a hurdle at an equestrian event. Now, just like the horse has to prove that it can jump over the hurdle in order to move forward, you have to prove to the court that you're disabled using the limited information that you put between those 2 bookends. In the same way, you might have to jump the hurdle, that's prove your disability, and clear that pool, which is prove why the denial of your claim was unreasonable in order to move forward. Again, you're going to want to provide overwhelming proof that, like Humpty, you lost the ability to perform your occupation at that elevated level. And you want to go that extra mile because if your claim is denied, you'll more than likely have to jump the hurdle and clear the pool in order to obtain your benefits.
That's right, Kelly. You will need to submit overwhelming proof of your disability. Submit overwhelming proof that, like Humpty, you're no longer able to perform your occupation at an elevated level. You'll want to go the extra mile, because if your claim is denied, you'll have to prove the hurdle, your disability, and the pool, unreasonable decision-making, to a court in order to obtain benefits.
All right, here are the top 5 tips for filing a long-term disability benefits claim. Tips on how you can go that extra mile. First, E, evaluate your occupation. Write down what you do every day at your occupation. Get a copy of your job description from your employer, because you need to gather evidence that shows the physical, mental, endurance, strength, and experience requirements to even perform your occupation. Next, X. Xerox everything. Get copies of certain documents like your medical records and your medications. You need to keep a copy of all the correspondence between you and the person handling your claim. And you should get a copy of your long-term disability plan or policy. This document should give you the rules and requirements for obtaining disability benefits. Next, T, timeliness. You need to file that claim in a timely manner, prove your claim in a timely manner, and if necessary, appeal your claim in a timely manner. And the rules for doing this should be included in your long-term disability plan or policy. R, references. You should obtain written, documented references from either coworkers or personal acquaintances about the decline in your ability to work, because you need documented information that shows how you're like Humpty Dumpty. You need information that shows your functional abilities when you could sit way up high on that wall and fully perform your occupation. And you also need documented information on your fall from that wall, how you declined from working at an elevated level to being unable to work at all. And finally, A, attorney. Consider talking to an attorney about your claim, but not just any attorney. Talk to an attorney that understands long-term disability benefits. Talk to an attorney that understands how to prove a disability claim and understands the differences in reasonable and unreasonable decision making. Hey, remember, they put that last bookend on the shelf. And remember the 2 hurdles you may face if you have to go to court. And remember the top 5 tips for filing a disability claim. But most importantly, go that extra mile.